Hi, I'm Natasha O'Connell. I'm a professional development coach and a recruiter with the TemPositions group of companies. I seek out New York City's leaders to talk to them about their success and to hear their thoughts on mentorship and leadership. Today, on Temp Mentors, I'm speaking with Zuleika Cuevas, who is the CEO and founder of EDIE. She shares her thoughts about connecting with your DNA and finding your passion statement. Hi, Zuleika.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming and speaking with me this morning.
Anytime.
Great. So let's jump right into it.
Sure.
So tell me about your professional journey, because I know you've got a lot to tell.
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
So I first have to preface it by saying I am Brooklyn-born, first generation Panamanian woman.
That's
so
great.
There's many
Facets
to
there.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of I bring that up because that does tell a story. I want to talk a little bit about finding yourself and being grounded in your DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say DNA, it is one has to closely align with where they think their true talents fall in.
Yes.
So if I take you back to when I was 5, in that all-girl Catholic school, I was put on stage, and I remember doing this poem. His name is Langston Hughes.
Oh, yes.
And I remember being on stage, and I had my hand up, and I was talking about my blackness, and just explaining to everyone the color of my skin. I remember that journey of being on stage and holding the presence of the audience. So that, as I look back, that connected to my first instance of connecting to my DNA. Moving on, I then, because the dollars were calling me, I went to an insurance company. And I stayed there, I'm going to date myself now, for 21 years.
Wow. That's a nice patch of time right there.
So it was a nice patch of time, but it did not connect to my DNA.
Okay.
I chased the money.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that is one way to go, but after a while you just want to question.
That's right. You start questioning.
Yeah.
And what happens is, it is a feeling that you feel. Very connected to my inner core. I've always been that way. And so I remember saying that, leaving on the last day, and the director came to me and said, "Why do you want to leave? You got a great pension, you got these benefits." And there was this thing inside of me that was calling me to move, to keep going, don't stop. It was
now or never,
strong.
so you have to go.
Yeah. It was just something that was just talking to me. So in that space, the insurance company, I was leading in the space of diversity and inclusion. They wanted me to tap into doing research to understand what the Asian American market, the Hispanic American, and the African American market was like. They wanted to grow in that space years ago. They didn't understand it. So I was the leader in bringing forth that research, that education. The nonprofit that I went to afterward heard about the work that I was doing and hired me on the spot to be the vice president and corporate executive program director in the nonprofit space, leading the D&I initiative where I had to produce world-class diversity and workforce initiatives in that space. And we partnered with many corporate executives, organizations, academia, to help them understand the work that they needed to do with retention, understanding their own employees that had that makeup. How can we get them promoted? How can we bridge the gap to get them into the boardroom? So I led in that space. Well, what that did for me, I felt like I was closer to my DNA. What that did was it opened my eyes to meeting many people. It opened my eyes that education is priceless. Again, tapping into that DNA.
Yeah.
Going back to the little child when my father said education is key. I wanted to be in the space of education because, again, tapping into showing new professionals, these professionals, that it takes more than just skill set to make it was important to me. And I was in that space. I was a leader in that space. I was making connections with directors and vice presidents. So again, I felt more closer to the DNA.
So Zuleika, what affects your decision to hire? What makes a fantastic candidate in your eyes when you're interviewing?
Companies hire for personality.
Okay.
We all know the skills, competencies will get you through the door, but it won't get you the job.
I know.
Okay?
I know.
So learning how to connect build rapport. Let me see your personality. And that's why as a recruiter, and I've had several positions where I've done that, it's all to me about behavioral based questions. Not the yes and the no, but tell me about a time.
Yes.
Because it gets to the heart of you being a human. You know, we all aren't perfect. You're learning. Learning should be a continuous process. So as you go about your journey, tell me about that and how did you handle it? Those are the things those are the type of questions that I ask, because it's not a yes or no.
And so by contrast, what type of candidate would you say that, like, I'm not hiring this person, this is like a no for me?
Just can't build that rapport. I've always had that knack to coach someone. And so as I'm coaching through these questions and trying to tap into the essence of you, I can pretty much tell if you are likable. Do you fit into the culture that we're trying to hire you
Of
for?
course.
Will you be a good blend? Can you be a team player? Is this going to be just a 9 to 5, or is this going to be someplace that you're going to want to come to on a Monday morning? And so the hard no means that I can sense through your phoniness. I can sense you're just being a robot. You're just giving me the questions that maybe I want to hear.
The answers that you want to hear, but you can tell that.
No, I can tell. And so that to me is a hard no if I can't tap into the essence of you.
So Zuleika, are you following those trends, and do you set goals, and do you track your goals? What do you do? What helps you? What do you do?
I think one needs to first start with a vision and then set the goal. And I think the goal needs to be set with the end result in mind first.
Oh, okay. So kind of like, this is where I want to be.
That's right.
So how do I get there? And then you work yourself back.
That's right.
That's really smart.
Well, and I work myself back, but I work myself from the bottom to the top. So I start out with the end result and then go to the bottom of where I am today. Yeah. Because you can only start there. And then I put little pieces, because you got to go one step at a time or else it becomes overwhelming. So, step by step and very detailed. But what makes it motivating is being able to cross the buckets off the list.
You mean like check, yes,
check. And it motivates you to want to. I can do this. My God, I've got it. I'm confident. Check. Next bucket. Check. And then eventually you open your eyes and you're there. So
absolutely.
New professionals, I tell them all the time, set that goal.
So in that spirit of, being an innate planner and setting goals, do you have anything that's on your bucket list that you say, well, I want to do this,
Oh my God. Well, going back to my DNA.
The scroll comes out.
Going back to my DNA, my father always told me, you really should be the next Oprah. And so that has left a piece in me that, in the long term, I want to be that go-to expert, that educator of tapping into, of having others understand, how do I get there? What do I need to get there? Well, I've been there. Let me show you how. That is where I want to be. And I would like to be on a platform that can bridge the gap towards educating our young ones, our new professionals.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing to have on your bucket list, because they need that kind of education. And I feel because they need jobs, and they're coming out of school, and that's great.
And let me tell you, Natasha, we are in a crisis today. Communication is big. And if you don't know how to communicate to get to where you want to go,
you got problems.
You've got problems, and you'll never get there. So
let's move on to how, because I really want to ask you about your work that you do with young professionals.
Sure.
And what is the biggest challenge that young professionals are facing today? What are they lacking? And what can you tell them to do better, to think about, especially out of college?
As an educator, I do tell new professionals that to come up with this passion statement. And this passion statement is really tapping into, again, what it is, because I believe success is all about tapping into the people they serve. When you serve a client or a customer and you do a good job at it, I think success naturally follows. So let me give you an example. I mentor many young professionals. One professional I mentored wanted to tap into the fashion industry. So what I said to I wanted to get a sense of fashion industry. That's a big industry, but can you narrow that down for me? So we had to go back, drill, edit, take off, but pretty much her passion statement was all about creating that glamorous look for young adults, so that so that they can tap into their inner being and feeling more confident about themselves. And I thought that was a wonderful passion statement. So I say to these young professionals, start there, create that passion statement, connect to who it is you truly are, understand who it is you serve, and by that, how you'd like to serve them, understand what their wants and needs are, and understand how they can be transformed by it. So that creates the essence of the passion statement.
So you feel that a lot of young professionals are lacking their passion mission statement, because that's what it is, right? It's your own mission statement.
That's right.
Because in the end, you are your own personal brand.
Absolutely.
But in order to be that, you have to have a passion. So so that's what they're lacking today. A lot of them are.
Yes, and how bad do you want it?
That's definitely it.
So, and then understanding that as you go through that journey, there are going to be some shackles that will hold you this way.
Definitely.
To let go of the shackles. In order to let go of those shackles, you got to understand what's holding you. Is it the paycheck? I don't want to let go of this paycheck, so I'm going to suffer through it. Or is it, I'm afraid to take the leap? There's many things, but you got to understand why you're in this shackle. And so that is what I sort of mentor these new professionals on understanding what's holding them back.
Great. Zuleika, thank you so much.
My God,
this has been really enlightening, and I hope to have you back so we can, talk about your top 10 tips for new professionals, and maybe even tap into, the Latina community and your insight on that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you. If you'd like more information about Temp Mentors, please email us at noconnell@temppositions.com. Thank you.